Yes, it is early, and I apologize for twisting your minds forward to 2014. But we are running from behind, and so that's one of the reasons we felt we had to start early. And I am running as a libertarian, which is not a common word in most of your households. And I can understand that, because I, too, came from the GOP. In fact, I served in the state legislature as a member of the House of Representatives back in the early 80s. I served for 2 terms, and term limited myself in 1984, didn't run again. Could have won easily, could have stayed home and won, because Ronald Reagan, if you remember, was running for re-election that year and pretty much swept everything. And I could have had an advantage there, but I was young, I had a business, I had young kids and a family, and felt it was time for somebody else to step up. The guy that replaced me is still there. Now, he's been in the Senate, and he's been in the County Commission, and he's been in the House, and he's been back in the Senate. And you know how that goes, the merry-go-round. I also, back in those years, I served with a young senator, the wonder boy of the Ohio GOP. His name is John Kasich. I served with a young House member on 2 committees who was the wonder boy of the Ohio Democrats. His name was Sherrod Brown. I served with a fellow named Mike DeWine, who was in the Senate, and I served with a House member who was a young firebrand of conservatism named Bill Batchelder. And folks, the reason I'm running for governor of Ohio in 2014 is because my friends have lost their way. They went in with great ideas and great enthusiasm about smaller government, which I think is a false argument, that the argument should be constitutional government. I don't care what you say smaller is. It's got to be the Constitution, my friends. But they went in with all these great ideas about restraining government, and yet in the last 3 years, the Ohio budget has grown by 21%. Now, we haven't exactly been fat and rich in Ohio for the last 3 years. We've had our struggles here, as you all know. You live up here in the northeast corridor of the state, which has had some of the greatest troubles. I live right outside of Toledo in Bowling Green. And if you want to see little Detroit, come to Toledo. But we've had our troubles, and there's no excuse for the state budget to grow by 6.7% a year for 3 years in times like these. So that was another impetus for me to go. One, that my friends had lost sight of why they were there, and 2, because I felt the state needed a new direction, a constitutional direction.